So one of the things that came out of my PhD research was the concept of authentic leadership. So authentic leadership, there's a number of different sort of nuanced definitions for this when it comes to practitioners and academics. But the crux of authentic leadership is that a person can be authentic, that they can be true to themselves. That's the gist of it. And so in my research, what I found is that many of the women leaders in the New Zealand Army felt that they couldn't be authentic. That it was either a case of if they were authentic, they felt that they would get criticised for their approach, or they would not be authentic and try to do something that wasn't them. Now, this wasn't just relevant to the Army. So when I did this research, I had to review the literature from hundreds of other articles, and it's really, really prevalent across literature in many other sectors as well. So corporate sector, school, education, various different industries, this is an issue. And so in the Army especially, so the Army is really dominated in this area, but again, it's absolutely extrapolated out to other industries as well, is that leaders are taught to be a very specific type of leader. And when we think in our head about what a leader is, there's an image that comes to our mind based on what we've been taught since we were growing up. And it's really about someone who's a man to start with. They're very directive, they're very decisive, they're very commanding, very sort of regimented in their approach. And of course the Army just, absolutely does that on steroids. But what I found in my research is that the majority of women that I interviewed, so 18 out of 20, so 90%, and I'm this as well, is more naturally their leadership approach was at the other end of the spectrum. So they are more about collaboration, inclusive, relationship focused, which is quite different to that kind of commanding end of the spectrum. And so what that means is that, first of all, if women are not appreciated, and actually men as well, because the latter approach that I just talked about for my woman, absolutely men can be that type of leader as well. So any person, man or woman, who cannot be themselves as a leader, that's a real problem, because first of all, it means that organisations actually miss out on that style of leadership. And it's really important for organisations to not just have one sort of robot type of leader throughout the organisation. You want a variety because of course your staff are varied and different approaches work for different people. So if your leaders in your organisation cannot be authentic, it means you're really missing out on those different perspectives and different approaches. But even more than that, it means you're missing out on getting the best version of that leader, because no one can be the best version of themselves if they can't be authentic. And so that's why it's really, really important that we foster authentic leadership. And we really encourage leaders to be the best version of themselves, whether that's more along the collaborative style or whether it is more along the directive and decisive style. But the point is, we want our people to be the best version of themselves.